Namaste, angels. This is the weekly general reading for the period of tomorrow, April 5th, Sunday through Saturday to come, April 11th. I wanted to make sure I got this reading up to you early enough today, Saturday the 4th, 4422, which is 444. Hope you guys noticed that. Of course, the number four and multiples not only represents being surrounded by archangels, or at least that's the belief, those who believe in angel numbers, but also specifically the Archangel Michael, that he is with us. And for me, he is totally representative of like the planet Mars and the sign of Aries. And so, and like the emperor type of energy. And so even more so, yeah, he's with us like all month during April, but just really strong presence today. Anyway, I wanted to make sure that I got this reading up early enough for you guys to have the information on Sunday, which is Palm Sunday, because I had been feeling so many wonderful things about Palm Sunday. Yes, the planet is going through, whatever it's going through. We're experiencing many different things around the globe. Plague of locusts in Africa. Plus, they're dealing with, famine that they already in parts where that they were already dealing with, and drought that they were already dealing with, and now this COVID-19 and HIV that they were already dealing with, and the same thing for other parts of the world. Just thing after thing after thing being piled on top of what they were already dealing with. Rainforests in Africa burning for months. Nobody has given a shit, So I know there's a lot going on, but I just been feeling that there'll be a moment, if it's not like globally or nationally or wherever you are in your country, city, town, neighborhood, then it should be personal, a feel-good moment that is connected to Palm Sunday, which is celebrated in honor of Jesus's like triumphant return to Jerusalem when he came, gallantly returning on a donkey, and he was like met by all these onlookers and people that were celebrating him and honoring him and cheering him. It's very Six of Wands, like in the tarot for me. So maybe that card will come up, but I've just been feeling it very, very strongly. Like something will please you. Maybe you'll hear from somebody unexpectedly from your past, that you haven't heard from, learn that somebody's okay, or something from your past will be resolved. Ultimately, it'll come up, for completion or something like that. Something should bring you good news. So I wanted you to know about that, and maybe that'll help you to get through today. Something to look forward to. So anyway, with today, we might as well go ahead and begin with the Christian calendar. So starting tomorrow with Palm Sunday. After that, the rest of the days during the week will be Holy Week for Christians. So Holy Monday, Holy Tuesday, Holy Wednesday, Holy Thursday, which is a holy day of obligation, particularly for practicing Catholics. Good Friday, of course, the day that Jesus was crucified. And then that is followed by Holy Saturday. And then next week, when our reading will begin with Easter Sunday, the Feast of the Resurrection. So that's the Christian calendar. I don't think I need to specifically explain what each of those things are. Of course, Holy Thursday, Jesus was celebrating his Passover Seder. He was a Jew, right? His mother was a Palestinian Jew, so he was a Jew. You are what your mother is in Judaism. Anyway, so he was having his Passover Seder and doing so with the 12 disciples. So that's what the Last Supper was. It was this Passover meal. People forget that, I think, sometimes because it's celebrated in Christianity and they forget that Jesus was a Jew. And somehow some people, unfortunately, are able to even take like this quantum leap to, racism and anti-Semitism. I don't really like that word because the Jews, particularly of today, are not Semites. But what I'm trying to say, like somehow fix it in their mind that they should hate these people, but that's what this person, this being, this entity that you claim to be your Lord and Savior, that's what he was. So how could you hate? It doesn't make any sense. That's just my class today for why there should be no hate between people like that. Anyway, moving on to these feast days, let's start with, since again, I don't think there's a need to explain what the Christian holidays are. Let's go to the Hebrew ones, since I think those are less understood by, a majority or maybe the majority. Jews are considered a minority. It is both a religion, of course, and considered an ethnicity, not just a religion. So in comparison to the Christian calendar, Holy Wednesday on the Christian calendar will be the same day that Jews around the world will celebrate the fast of the firstborn. Holy Thursday on the Christian calendar will be the day again that Jews around the world celebrate the feast of the Passover. And then Friday and Saturday, Sunday, and all next week actually will also be the days of Passover through Thursday, the 16th, I believe it is. And that's the 8th day, or the last day of Passover. All right, so let's talk a little bit more specifically about what the fast of the firstborn is. And for that, I'm not going to talk off the top of my head. I've gone to www.chabad.org, CHABAD.org, the fast of the firstborn. It is an ancient and widespread custom for the firstborn to fast on the day before Passover. This commemorates the miracle which spared the firstborn Jewish sons from the plague which struck down the firstborn sons of the Egyptians. By night, this fast should be held on the anniversary of the day on which the miracle occurred, on the night of the 15th of Nisan. However, since the 15th is already Passover this year, and we do not fast on festival days, the fast is pushed back to the 14th. They're talking about the 14th of Nisan, not the 14th of April. There is an additional reason why we fast specifically on the 14th. The firstborn of the Jews were saved in Egypt because they humbled themselves before God, admitting and declaring that all greatness, power, and sovereignty are His alone. This stood in contradiction to the Egyptians, who, filled with foolish pride and egotism, declared, quote, I am, and besides me there is none other, end quote. Okay, so this is a little biased, I'll use that word, and it's actually illogical and nonsensical, because even in Jewish tradition, this is just more of this racism and that I was just talking about. Because even in Jewish tradition and in the Torah, it talks about, for example, the feast of the Exodus from Egypt consisting of people who were both Egyptians and Jews, not just Jews. So it's all people of different kinds, different beliefs, different ideologies that were grouped together, were led by Moses out of Egypt. Not just these that now today consider themselves Jews. Also, Abraham, very highly revered in all three Abrahamic religions, actually. That's why they call them the Abrahamic religions. That would be Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. His firstborn son, born to an Egyptian slave, an Egyptian woman. That means one of the fathers of the 12 tribes of Israel was Egyptian. Right? So when this guy, whoever wrote this, his name is up here. I won't try to pronounce it, but the last name is spelled Kitov, maybe Kitov. This is his slant, his bias on it. Just wanted to clarify that. And this is not coming from me and not something that I believe, but I just chose this to explain what the fast of the firstborn is about. Anyway, thus, the fast on the 14th of Nisan commemorates the fact that the firstborn of Israel humbled themselves on that day and accepted the yoke of God's sovereignty. Abstention from food and drink is a sign of a heart subdued before God. There are different customs that are associated with this fast. Some maintain that every firstborn male and female, whether the firstborn is that of the mother or the father, must fast. So if they don't have the same two parents, whoever is firstborn to a parent has to fast. If there are no children, then the oldest member of the household must fast. They base this on the fact that there was no Egyptian household that was spared from the plague. Every household in Egypt was struck, whether there was a firstborn son or not. We commemorate, therefore, that all of the Jewish households were miraculously spared. Others maintain that the obligation to fast applies only to firstborn males. If the 14th of Nisan falls on Shabbat, which means the Sabbath, the fast is observed on the previous Thursday, the 12th of Nisan. For if a fast is suspended because of Shabbat, it is not held on a Friday. However, if the 14th of Nisan falls on a Friday, the fast is held on that day. There are some who lenient, however, and maintain that in this case, one does not fast. There are those who hold that the firstborn sons who are fasting should not fast for the entire day, in order not to enter the festival suffering, and thus should eat a small amount of food before the festival begins. This fast is treated leniently. Thus, if there is a festive meal held that is connected with a mitzvah, for example, the celebration of a circumcision, or of a Siyam, which is the completion of the tractate of the Talmud, the firstborn son participates in the meal rather than fasting. It is therefore customary to arrange for a Siyam to take place in the synagogue after morning prayers on the 14th of Nisan. The firstborn sons who are present participate in this festive meal, and having broken their fast may continue to eat for the rest of the day. That's how the fast of the firstborn works. So the following day, again, Holy Thursday for some, Passover for others. What is Passover, otherwise known as Pesach? For that, to answer that question, I've also gone to www.shabbat.org. The 8-day festival of Passover is celebrated in the early spring from the 15th through the 22nd of the Hebrew month of Nisan, which is the head of months. It's considered the first month of the year in the Jewish calendar. April 8th through April 16th, 2020 is that period. Passover, or Pesach, commemorates the emancipation of the Israelites from slavery in ancient Egypt. Pesach is observed by avoiding leaven, which is yeast, and highlighted by the Seder meals that include 4 cups of wine, eating matzah and bitter herbs, and retelling the story of the Exodus. That's why I mentioned the Exodus. I'm like, the Exodus is connected to the celebration of Passover, and I promise you, there were Egyptians that participated in that Exodus, and you can find it in the Torah, you can find it in the Bible. All right. I digress. Back to this. In Hebrew, it's known as Pesach, which means to pass over, because God passed over the Jewish homes when killing the Egyptian firstborn on the very first Passover Eve. Okay, here we go. Passover story in a nutshell. After many decades of slavery to the Egyptian pharaohs, during which time the Israelites were subjected to backbreaking labor and unbearable horrors, God saw the people's distress and sent Moses to Pharaoh with a message. Quote, "Send forth my people so that they may serve me." End quote. But despite numerous warnings, Pharaoh refused to heed God's command. God then sent upon Egypt 10 devastating plagues, afflicting them and destroying everything from their livestock to their crops. Now, some people would argue that Israel in those days was the whole of Africa, and some are more specific. I'm kind of partial to Ethiopia myself, which again, would be a coincidence to right now the fact that there is currently a plague of locusts in Egypt, in Africa. All right, so I'll move on. At the stroke of midnight on the 15th of Nisan in the year 2448 from creation, which is the same thing as 1313 BCE, which is the year that Moses died, by the way. He didn't get to go to the promised land. He led the people, but he died before they made it. Anyway, God visited the last of the 10 plagues on the Egyptians, killing all their firstborn. While doing so, God spared the children of Israel, passing over their homes, hence the name of the holiday. Pharaoh's resistance was broken, and he virtually chased his former slaves out of the land. The Israelites left in such a hurry, in fact, that the bread that they baked as provisions for the way did not have time to rise. 600,000 adult males, plus many more women and children, left Egypt on that day and began the trek to Mount Sinai and their birth as God's chosen people. So when I talk to you guys about the elect, or when I have in the past, the elect and the illumined, and I say that there was around 600,000 of them, that's from where the number comes. All right. Again, it is in the Bible. It is in the Torah. 600,000 people marched out of Israel. Of that number, 144,000 illumined ones, and the rest were elect members. They say some ancestors were elders were welcome to come, and of course, children, descendants. Where was I? In ancient times, the Passover observance included the sacrifice of the Paschal lamb, which was roasted and eaten at the Seder on the first night of the holiday. This was the case until the temple in Jerusalem was destroyed in the 1st century. So that's when they stopped killing the lamb or serving the Paschal lamb. And if you want to read the rest of the full Passover story, it is here again, www.shabbat.org. I'm sure it's many other places, but I am going to stop there and move on to the planetary calendar. So on that, we have two major events. The first on April 4th. I'm sorry, three events. First on April 4th at 10:45 p.m., so 4/4 at 10:45, which equals 19, Jupiter will be conjunct Pluto. So the ruler of Sagittarius conjunct the ruler, or one of the rulers of Scorpio. Jupiter will be at 24 degrees Capricorn, and so will Pluto. Then on April 7th, I'm sorry, that was on April 4th. So that's today. Oh, today at 10:45 p.m. So tonight this happens. Okay, so I was right the first time. For this week's reading, the reading I'm reading for the 5th through the 11th, two events. The first is April 7th at 10:35 p.m., which equals 18. The full moon in Libra occurs also at 18 degrees. April 11th at 12:48 a.m., Mercury enters Aries at 0 degrees. And for more about that, I've gone to www.tarot.com to read something that they wrote or published on November 25th, 2019. Mercury in Aries, direct, pioneering, quick-witted. The transit is from April 10th through April 27th. Mercury, the planet closest to the sun, represents communication and intellectual perception. Because Mercury is the planet of thinking and Aries is the sign of doing, words tend to flow without a second thought when these two sync up in the sky. This is also a time when we may express our ideas with more passion than usual. We'll all get straight to the point when mental Mercury is in assertive Aries. Aries waits for no one, so this transit is a time when our minds may grow a little, or a lot, more restless and impatient. We won't stand still or replay the tape in our minds over and over again. We'll want to charge ahead and to move into the next thing. Mercury in Aries is also a great time for opening the lines of communication and giving us the encouragement that we need to say exactly what we think and feel. That may be why this is here too. Again, maybe you're contacting somebody from your past, or they're contacting you, or this is you, hammering something out with your siblings or with your parents or your children. All of those possibilities. Mercury in Aries is also, I just read that one. However, our desire to say exactly what we're thinking could become a problem when cooperation, compromise, and sensitivity are required, because the king of air is sort of direct and to the point and blunt, and can be therefore kind of, insensitive sometimes, or considered that way. And of course, the Aries energy, that emperor energy, is the same way. Very authoritative, and you're not necessarily thinking about your feelings. Our thoughts and our speech may become more courageous and innovative when Mercury and Aries get together. Flashes of insight make it easier for us to think fresh solutions to problems that have been hanging over our heads for far too long. Something from your past. All right. Don't second guess yourself. Your first thoughts are often your best ones during this transit. Catch this inspiration as fast as you can, because the Aries influence means these bursts of brilliance will disappear just as quickly as they appeared. And it goes on to talk about what it means for Mercury to be retrograde in Aries, as well as if you were born with this transit in your chart. I'm going to skip those, but again, I found it on www.tarot.com for those who want to read this one. And I'm sure you can read about Mercury and Aries, many other places of your own choosing as well. Some traits I will share, though, for Mercury and Aries: enthusiastic, assertive, inventive, candid, spontaneous, alert, decisive, confident, and outspoken. On that note, we'll see what the dice have to say. I'm beginning with try again, party, and massage. Try again can also be connected to this energy from the past. Maybe something from before, maybe as far back as your childhood, or perhaps, or maybe even a past life. Oh, there goes an orb. I don't know if I don't know if it was in the camera or not, or if it was, I think it may have been above the camera. Anyway, I'm feeling it could be even something connected to a past life. Just feeling a lot of presence of Archangel Jeremiel, the Archangel of past lives. He's the one that appears in the Angel Tarot on the Judgment card, I believe, which would make sense. In the traditional tarot, the Rider-Waite, Judgment is that card that is connected to Pluto. So maybe I'm feeling this because of that transit, that conjunction with Pluto and Jupiter. Judgment is the one that has those people that look like they're in purgatory. They have like gray bodies, like grayish blue bodies, and an angel, presumably to me at least, Archangel Gabriel, because of the trumpet that he's blowing. It's like sounding the horns. It's very Revelations like. So something could be coming up from a past life to be resolved, to be completed, some sort of karmic completion, which would also make sense because, again, the transit. Okay, so I'm having this moment of clarity while I'm talking it through with you guys. The transit is between Jupiter and Pluto. Jupiter is the planet of karma, growth, expansion. So we could be growing beyond these things and from our past, this past karma, or karma that's on our soul from a past life, completing that this week, maybe upon that transit. When was that transit again? Is that the one that's today? I think it's today. So maybe that's going to give us this kind of energy. All right, so back to the dice. Try again, party, and massage. Very interesting. You saw me shake them up. Spirit still says massage. As well as try again. And spend money. Maybe from inside if you can, like online, buying your supplies or whatever you need. I will try again with this try again die, since it's told us to do so twice already. And Spirit says email. So maybe if you reach out to somebody and try to connect with them and you're unsuccessful, you should try again via email or some sort of other online means. I'm getting sick of having to like put titles and stuff on the readings, but maybe I'm just having the thought that maybe I'll come up with something connected to Jeremiah for this week, because I am feeling that so very strongly. But yeah, the title thing for me is more because you're a YouTube person. I'm not a YouTube person. I have to be on YouTube. You know what I mean? But I'm a psychic. I'm intuitive. It has nothing to do with me trying to be a YouTube personality. So I'm not really into all that. I'm just into giving you guys the information, sharing my visions with you. In any case, with the cards, as I've shown you a few times, we are beginning with the Six of Water or Six of Cups, memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children, and romanticizing the past with my, what is this? Ascended Masters deck. Yes. Priorities with King Solomon. And this is like Metatron's star. Speaking of the archangels. Yeah, I just think they're very strong today. Metatron, of course, the archangel of all light workers, and one of two who's most like us, began human and transitioned, through ascension directly into heaven is the way that the story goes. He ascended, Enoch became Metatron. So anyway, this is interesting. And he says priorities. Now I think this can be anything from maybe like the small, like what's really important, especially when you're restricted to your homes, most of us, in large part, like what's really important for you to do, what's not. Maybe you say, family is more important, love is more important. So I'm going to put these other things that I wanted to do aside. And maybe rather than go outside, I'm going to go online again to spend money, or I'm going to contact people via email instead of in person. It could be small priorities like that, or it could be something larger. Right behind that, Go Now, says Serapis Bay. And it's upside down, but it is next card. I am going to show it. Is Peace Offering, White Buffalo Calf Woman. So whenever I just even see this card, but certainly when I pull it, it is indicative of, unfortunately, like loss, like actual death and passing. The fact that it's here upside down, I think it's just speaking more to continued, unfortunately, with what's going on around the world. Not any like personal impact to anybody for whom I'm reading right now. The next deck, this is my Keepers of the Light Oracle. And the card is Mary Magdalene, Teacher Awakens. So it's a very hermit / Hierophant kind of feel that it has to me. And maybe also interesting is the fact that Mary Magdalene is on it. And she along with Jesus's mother and Peter, who were leading the people and teaching the people in Jesus's absence while he had been away. So again, tomorrow, Sunday, the feast of Palm Sunday marks the day of his return. Teacher Awakens. You have something important to share. Follow the inner call and don't let anything stop you. It also sounds very Mercury and Aries, that what we just read about, the transit. And that's the last. So I'll put these two decks aside. Well, El Moria has something to say first. Awakening Presence. The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. And there's another one of these these geometric stars behind him, like the Metatron star. Do you see it? It's made out of actual stars in the sky behind him. All right, so I'll just put this in like arbitrarily. All right, Isis wants to be seen also. Magic manifesting. Your dreams, visions, and goals are becoming reality. Stay focused, is what she has to say. All right, so I'll put her in here. Put this back on top. And again, that's that one. All right, so with these, you've seen the Six of Cups. I will now get them all mixed up for you some more. freshly before you like this. No rhyme or reason to this. Okay, there's your Mercurian energy. The Knight of Air. Intelligent, decisive, idealistic, and tireless. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options. You can come up with creative solutions. The Knight of Air is a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Can absolutely be Mercury himself, who again enters Aries this week, or even Venus herself, who entered Gemini, which she rules last week. Crowning the masculine this week. Further to that. Wow. Right? We're going straight into the Mercury in Aries. Boom. Right? Here's the Emperor. Major Arcana card 4, which does represent the planet Mars in the sign of Aries. Organization and logic, structure and discipline, leadership. This is like an authority, could be a father figure. Again, there could be something going on, in your family. It's coming up from the past for you to deal with, for you to heal. Could be the government, large corporations with which you're dealing, a boss, on a very individual, level, perhaps smaller scale. Some sort of father figure. Could be your own energy, taking charge, taking the lead, taking back control of your life. Could be specifically talking about a father or like a married man or a man with children or, somebody who'd be good at it, like the marrying kind. Marriage material, as they say. That's crowning the masculine today. Surrounding him, very nice, Major Arcana card 17, the Star, which represents the sign of Aquarius and is all about communication, especially online communication, texting, email, online dating, Skype, Zoom, whatever, social media, all these things. Happy times. Make positive, optimistic, long-term plans. You are on the right path. So this could definitely be speaking more about the action going into the communication. Also, the Star is a card of that shows up when your manifestation is successful, right? Your dreams are coming true. Your wishes are being granted. Prayers are being answered. And the Star shows up. Masculine subconscious. It is more Major Arcana. Wow. Major Arcana card 14, Balance, which is actually Temperance in the traditional tarot, which represents the planet Jupiter. Again, the ruler of the sign of Sagittarius. The need for balance and moderation. Cooperation and compromise. Wait for perfect timing. So this could definitely be speaking to, again, resolving some sort of conflict or issue with somebody else, perhaps specifically from your past. This is negotiation. This is coming together. It's a very karmic energy, as in from the universe, of healing and holding, being made whole, where you were lacking, where something had been lost, where something had been taken. There was a gap. It's being filled in by the universe, helping you to be restored to your wholeness. Crowning the feminine this week. Speaking of the energy of Sagittarius, it is it is not Major Arcana, crossing Major Arcana card Balance or Temperance, which also represents the energy of Sagittarius. It is the Page of Wands, the Page of Fire, outgoing, creative, confident, and mischievous. News of an exciting new endeavor. Use your originality and ingenuity. So the feminine in particular, getting some sort of news, maybe tomorrow again. I just felt, again, very Six of Wands for tomorrow, that Feast of Palm Sunday. Surrounding the feminine, it is Major Arcana card 5, Unity, or the Hierophant, with Archangel Sandalphon, which, remember I said Metatron was one of two that are more like us, two just ascended directly into heaven, or at least that's what some of the scriptures say. And the other, so the one is Metatron, the other is Sandalphon. Some people say that they were like, lovers. Some people believe that. Some people believe they were like twins or something. Not as in twin flame, maybe that too, but twin as in, like twin brothers. In any case, traditional viewpoints or methods. Spiritual organizations seek out mentors or like-minded friends. So the feminine perhaps getting an opportunity to fellowship, maybe, perhaps online with the Hierophant mirroring the star. Connecting online with other people, again, maybe through something that called like Zoom or social media, web groups, going live together, connecting with somebody even on the phone or whatever, perhaps from your past specifically. Feminine subconscious. It's the Eight of Water, a desire to move on, the search for something more meaningful, spiritual and emotional growth. Sitting here with the Hierophant, which is a very spiritual card. Again, we could be moving on from maybe some people with whom our souls don't align. That's why we're looking for something higher or meets our vibration, or it's higher from which we can learn something. We're trying to fellowship with other people like us, moving on from that which doesn't nurture our soul, or maybe, again, there was some sort of conflict with somebody in particular, specific, and we're moving on from that energy of the past and being able to come back together. Crowning. The Nine of Earth, of Pentacles, enjoying life's little luxuries, spending quiet time alone, and successful self-employment. So not being worried about money and stuff this week. There's definitely, again, a more spiritual energy and celebratory energy, and one of manifestation, and again, being restored to wholeness. Where we were lacking, we're drawing things that we need or want back toward us, and all is well. It's a good week. All things considered, it's a good week. Like, aside from whatever else we're dealing with the world. At the root, foundation. The Two of Air, being unable or unwilling to make a decision, a stalemate, pretending there's no problem. Two of Air, Two of Swords, when it comes up, is not only about a decision, the way that I read it, but a decision that we're having trouble making because we're trying to not go against the grain. So again, maybe you are feeling particularly spiritual, feminine, but others around you are not. And so you're having difficult, should I follow that tug on my heart to join other people like me? Or should I just pretend that all is, well, and I'm not awakening and, I fit in with the others? It could be something like that. Or more, directly, could be people actually telling you, in your ear, don't do that, do this. This is what's better. This is what's right. This is what, socially acceptable or whatever. That's when the Two of Swords comes up. In terms of love and relationship, to which it can also be tied here, particularly crossing the Hierophant, which can be about commitment and up to and including marriage. The Two of Swords can be like, many of the other twos, just about being completely taken right now with love, and maybe being more focused or on love than other stuff, too focused. And that could be where priorities comes in, and it's okay, well, don't focus on that so much about whether or not you have a relationship, or the fact that you do, and you're ignoring other things because you just relationship. Be careful about that. At the heart of the matter, the Seven of Earth. Seeds, or Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, right here under the Nine of Earth of Pentacles. Seeds well planted, a temporary pause in action, unnecessary worry. So just like this piece of scripture I read at the beginning of the astrological readings that I did this week, for those of you who got to see those, it was a piece of scripture that was very quarantine-like, and talking about the need to go in your home and shut the door, but it speaks about the fact that it's going to be very, very temporary. It says something like, it's a short time, and that's what we need people to understand about this. This is temporary. No, we're not going to be living like this forever. And you've already done what you needed to do as a person, maybe even again at the soul level, or in terms of manifestation, in being a good, human. You've already done, or it could be physical labors here on this plane too. Maybe for your boss, for the company for whom you work, They're already happy with you. That doesn't mean slack off, but it means you've done what you need to do in order to, be okay going forward. So any worry about that is unnecessary. Crowning the emperor, the masculine, clarifying the emperor, is the three of fire. Very good. Because this says, again, you've done what you needed to do. You're on your way. You're almost to that point of manifestation. You just need one more wand here, right? To have a four of wands, which is a solid foundation. So just a little patience. It is a temporary pause in action, but that's all it is. Again, it's temporary, and we can still look forward to the future. Abundance. Things look very good. Have patience this time and make long-term plans. Guess what it's sitting on top? The star, which also said to us what? Make long-term plans. Make positive, optimistic, long-term plans. You're on the right path. So again, you've already done what you need to do in order to continue that path. Just what you need to do going forward is to keep your head up, continue your faith, maintain your faith that you're going to, be successful, and you will. Atop or clarifying the star further, masculine, is Major Arcana card 9, the Hermit. Spend time in quiet meditation. Spiritual teaching, self-discovery. What is it mirroring? The Hierophant that I was talking about, spiritual teaching or connections with other people of your vibration or higher from whom you can learn something, or maybe to whom you can teach something. We can also be helping people to come into clarity and understanding about what's going on, in where you are, or, maybe specific to your life or that of your neighbors and or family members or whatever. And letting other people know that everything's going to be okay and how you know that. Clarifying balance or temperance for the masculine is the King of Summer, this is a beautiful card for this position. You know why? Because the King of Summer or King of Cups is all about balanced masculine and feminine energy. It is about feeling and being whole and healthy, warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful. A trustworthy person or relationship enters your life. You may receive wise and compassionate advice from someone who speaks directly from the heart. The King of Summer or Cups, if he actually is potentially an actual person in your life, and maybe more specifically a male person in your life and masculine archetype, but also even more specific to that, a direct water sign, a Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Crowning the feminine atop the Page of Wands, clarifying the Page of Wands, is the Five of Autumn or Pentacles. Focusing upon the negative or worrying about money. So this is the worry again. This is right at the heart of the matter. It says unnecessary worry, but we got some anyway. We're not listening. Focusing upon the negative or worrying about money or your career can block your progress. Because your trust and faith are at a low point right now, it's not the best time to start your own business or to try to become self-employed or to try to work on relationships or whatever. Like whatever it is you're trying to manifest, whatever it is you feel as if you're lacking, it's not the best opportunity for you to try to draw those things to you when your mind is in a negative place. So the first thing you need to do is work on you. Look to the card that's next to you, the Nine of Pentacles, which is about spending time with you, enjoying you, getting to know you, getting to love, even if you can, you. Once you feel good about yourself, once you feel positive, once your thoughts are positive, then you can successfully manifest what you need in your life. I will also point out that this is like 2 fives of Pentacles because Major Arcana card 5, the Hierophant, also represents earth signs and most specifically the sign of Taurus. Clarifying that Hierophant further is Major Arcana card 19, the Sun, which represents the sign of Sagittarius. So it's like you got these two energies mixed up. Here you got a Sagittarius with the earth, and here you got the earth with the Sagittarius. Your plans will work out well, bringing you happiness, prosperity, and success. You'll garner the recognition for your accomplishments that you so richly deserve. Major Arcana card 19, again, does represent the sign of Sagittarius and the planet Jupiter, which it rules, which has that transit today with Pluto. For those who to whom this is connected to health. You get very, very positive outcome in terms of health from both of these cards. The Unity or Hierophant and the Sun, especially where something involving rays, so like X-rays or, sonograms or radiation, chemo, like some people are still dealing with other issues, like despite what's happening right now, they already had a chronic illness or, a concern, a disease or something. And so they're still dealing with that. Everything's going to be fine there as well. The Hierophant can be about just being really like concerned and or caught up with spirituality at the moment. And maybe for some of you, that's what you lacked. You lack spirituality or some sort of connection to source, to God or higher power, and you're like looking, desire for something higher, a higher meaning, something more meaningful, spiritual and emotional growth. And maybe some of you find through what's going on God, you find the Son, you find Jesus for some of you. That can be what's happening also. Also, some may be feeling particularly disconnected from an earth sign or a fire sign, and then maybe of those, most specifically, a Taurus or a Sagittarius. Or on the side of the masculine, feeling maybe disconnected specifically from a Virgo in terms of an earth sign, or in terms of a fellow fire sign, and Aries, like the Emperor. Or a Scorpio, also ruled by Mars in part, along with Aries, of the water signs. So that can be what it's about too. But I'm feeling really strong of the spirituality thing. Like even if you don't have any traditional religious beliefs or ideologies or, spirituality to speak of, or you don't consider yourself to, you could just be really wanting to expand your mind and yourself and allow that to happen, allow your inner spirit to expand. And that can be why the Nine of Earth or Pentacles is here too. This is about you connecting and just being taken to a deeper place. And that would make a lot of sense with the Sun too, in terms of spirituality, because the Sun, it's about like being shown the beauty of life and the world, like the good things, helping you to turn around from maybe feelings of lack and doubt and, like everything sucks, and having your eyes open to what does matter, what is beautiful about life, or what is beautiful about the world, what are the priorities, what we should be grateful for and appreciative of and aspiring to. And you're very likely, the Sun also illuminates things. So it can bring clarity to you too. And this can be the time when, you're very likely to see like the truth about stuff and maybe the truth about yourself, period. Clarifying that Eight of Water or Cups is... It's another Hierophant. I knew it. I just felt it so strongly, all the spirituality. Embrace this time of deep spiritual growth, feminine. This is for us. You may feel called to act as a mentor, to find a new teacher, or to spend time with others who are also on a sacred path. Again, the Hierophant represents the sign of Taurus, and a Taurus may be particularly significant. A crowning, to clarify the Nine of Earth or Pentacles, is the Two of Summer, Two of Cups. You're falling in love or experiencing a deepening of emotion in your current relationships. That could be friendships, familiar relationships. It can be romantic relationships or partnerships. It can also be, again, new people that you've met, maybe that you're connecting to, your tribe, your soul family. Those who are on the exodus with you. Marriages and romantic partnerships in distress can still be saved. Don't give up. Clarifying or atop the Two of Air or Swords. is the 10 of spring, 10 of wands. You're working far too hard and the stress will soon become too much. Reach out for help from others and take some time to play and to enjoy life. So again, I said with the Two of Swords before, which I don't think I say very often. I do say this part often, that for me, it's about not only a decision you have to make, but a decision that just seems to be pulling you in different directions because it's going against what others maybe might have you do or might say about it. But you don't usually connect it to spirituality. And I think that there's some, and maybe particularly for the feminine, although, I mean, this is for the masculine too, this 10 of Wands. Just very important for you to connect with other people who are like you. And maybe because newly awakened, that could be another meaning for the sun too. Like all of a sudden I can see everything's bright. I'm newly awakened to all of this stuff that's going around me, spirituality, maybe even things like soulmates and twin flame relationships and stuff. And so now I need to not only find maybe a teacher or a mentor who understands it more so than I do, but also other people like me who are experiencing it, maybe newly experiencing it, people who have been going through it that know far more about it than I do, with whom I can connect. And again, soul family, very important, I think particularly again for the feminine this week, soul family or tribal connections, disciples, apostles, like people that we join together with. And at the heart of the matter, atop the 7 of earth or pentacles is the 6 of air. Things are looking up. It's the end of a difficult situation, right? Here's the difficult situation. And then this is the end. We move into just calmer, stiller waters. We're at peace. Things are looking up. Somebody may even be taking a trip, right? Most of us will not be taking a trip right about now, but some still are traveling. Georgia just, the governor just reopened the beaches after he just closed them yesterday. He reopened them today. So maybe we're, taking ourselves down south so we can see something different, to be in the sun, right? To be in the sun. Very possible. So this is not about actual physical movement, which it's crossing the 8 of Cups, which could also be about movement or moving. But if it's not about physical movement, then it's metaphoric, again, movement forward in a positive direction. It's never a negative card for me. Further to that, we'll give these a little mix up too, because remember, we saw some before. Some wanted to be seen and acknowledged at the time. So we'll give them an opportunity to come back if they wish, or ourselves to see something fresh. All right, I guess they want to do it like that. And that leaves us with meditate and Buddha as the overall energy. And now from the Keepers of the Light Oracle, the same thing. Just to mix them up a bit. Oh. And Isis is back. Again, magic manifesting. Your dreams, visions, and goals are becoming reality. Stay focused. Don't allow what's going on outside of you, external forces, to take your eye off of your goal, right? Keep your eyes on the prize, as they say. It's all like an illusion, a distraction, an alternate reality. But you can maintain, your own dimensional reality. Maybe that's something you're coming to understand with the spirituality, the growth. You can maintain that in your focus through things like meditation, like Buddha suggests. All right, so further advice to the masculine specifically from the Keepers of the Light Oracle is, and look, it's another one of these Merkabas, these stars like Metatron's star. Something's coming out about that. Maybe more importantly though, or immediately, This card is called Higher Learning. So it's another one of these Hermit slash Hierophant feeling cards. It's like having two hermits here, and I guess what would be our third Hierophant now. And that's not even including the Mary Magdalene. So you make it 3 hermits and 4 Hierophants at this point. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further your progress. So this is about growth too, on the side of the masculine as well, not just the feminine. For the feminine, Saint Germain, karma releasing. This is what I was talking about in the beginning. So maybe you're going to move beyond some sort of karmic experience or something from your past. Okay, Saint Germain shows up to say yes. Create your own path and make room for good energy. Get rid of this kind of energy. Make room for the good energy. And your path, your ideologies, your spirituality, your belief system, make your own. You don't have to stay stuck in tradition with what you were raised. You don't have to, allow other people's belief systems to pull on your heartstrings if your soul is guiding you towards something different. From the Ascended Masters deck to the masculine. I knew he was going to come out today. I really did. Father, husband, brother, son, Osiris. This card is about a masculine energy. Maybe your father. We did have Aries. The Emperor show up. Maybe your father, husband, brother, or son, or your own inner masculine, like the King of Cups. Remember, our own inner masculine and feminine energy being balanced and healthy. This is about a masculine energy with whom you have to heal. So it could be yourself and or another masculine archetype, and possibly specifically male in your life. Feminine. Clear and shield your energy, says El Moria. And I think it's, again, because a lot of the feminine going through some sort of awakening process or growing from where their present dimensional reality is increasing, right? So you're being moved somewhere else. And that requires energy healing sometimes, and to clear away all old karmic junk, because you have completed or resolved some karma. So you don't want the remnants of that sitting around there. You need to clean it out. Maybe you can do it through meditation, as Buddha suggested. If you're not able, there are people, I'm not the only one, but there are people who do this, who can help you with that and clearing away old karmic gunk so you can move forward in your life. I call it Divine Light Cleanse. I have a page dedicated to it, a 5-star rated page on Facebook dedicated specifically to that. You want to check that out. But there are, again, other means. I'm not the end all be all in clearing or shielding energy. And many of you may know how to do some sort of variation of that yourself. If you do, this is guidance to do so. Because, again, there's growth happening there. There's ascension. And there are going to be people who, in energies and entities that want to prohibit you, want to inhibit you, want to stop you from that growth, want to stunt your growth. From the Angel Tarot to the masculine, the 8 of Air, 8 of Swords, an illusion of being trapped because you're at a temporary pause. You feel like it's stuck. You feel like nothing's moving. You feel like you're not having growth. It's just for a need for patience, all right, because you are growing. Just maintain your faith in yourself, because this card can be about a lack of self-confidence and being afraid to take action. Feminine Angel Tarot. Major Arcana card 3, the Empress, which represents the planet Venus and the signs that she rules. Taurus, again, more Taurus. Libra, where the full moon will be. And Gemini, which again she entered last week. Lavish abundance. Give birth to your dreams. Nurture yourself and others. So this too is about growth and expansion, as 3s are in general. But they can also be about not only that growth, but it's through creativity. You helping to bring about the growth and expansion in your own life. When the Empress pops up, I always have to mention also, it's a very strong, very fertile time, and that can be literal or figurative. And it's on the feminine or female side. You could be particularly fertile right now in terms of the ability to get pregnant. If you've been wanting to get pregnant, then It's a great time for you to try. If you do not want to get pregnant, you may want to protect yourself against that. If you're not able to get pregnant and you know that for sure, and because you've protected yourself already or whatever the case is, then this fertility applied to other areas of your life in terms of the abundance and growth in your creative juices right now. Also, just very attractive, like your light is beaming this week, and that may be again because of all the awakening energy that surrounds you. Masculine, your last card, boom, the Four of Fire. So you have one here, the Three of Fire, and this is the natural progression. Again, if we can just be patient, we are successfully manifesting right now, and we will have a solid foundation soon enough. Contentment, peace, and abundance. A happy home life and the successful completion of a project. This card also can be about marriage, and it is mirroring the Hierophant, and the feminine's got, like I said, again, a couple of Hierophants on her side. So for some of us, this could be about marriage. It's possible that our marriage was put on hold, that we had plans to get married. I actually know a couple of couples that were supposed to get married this month, clients of mine, and I know for a fact that one isn't, because theirs was a destination wedding that I was supposed to go to in a sunny climate in Jamaica. Maybe they'll decide to postpone or figure out this week, like when they're going to, for when they're going to reschedule. That could be something. But anyway, for others of us, some of you may have, like I said, postpone your wedding because that came up, or engagement, or like your life, like this, that twice you got the message, masculine, of making long-term plans and being optimistic about your future, making long-term plans. So you could have like put things on hold in general, feeling like it's the unsafe time to do that. And this is just a more guidance saying, no, it's not, go for it. And lastly, for the feminine, the Ace of Air, Ace of Swords, brilliant new ideas and inspirations, seeing the truth of a situation and a challenging beginning. So I mentioned seeing the truth in, again, spirituality, those types of situations. This can also be very literal in terms of the truth coming out. It is a card of victory also, and it is about new beginnings. Yes, after some time of difficulty, but what do we have here? Right here at the heart of the matter, we have confirmation that time of difficulty is over. Things are looking up. It's the end of a difficult situation. So there you have that. I hope you guys have enjoyed the weekly reading. I will be back with the love reading. If you would like your own reading or energy healing that I mentioned, divine light cleanse, or any of the healing modalities that I